Today I'm going to introduce 4 products of gluten: chicken meat, gluten balls, imitation tofu, and gluten rings. In the previous video of vegan fish, I have introduced the making of gluten. Basically, it is 300 grams of plain flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 200 to 275 ml of water. Dissolve the salt in water first, then you pour it into the flour, stirring and trying to make it into a sticky, thick dough. If you have a stand mixer, it would make work much easier. Then you submerge it in water for 3 hours. I will explain in greater detail the technique of washing. Bring the submerged dough to the sink, add 1 teaspoon of salt, and begin gently kneading, pressing, massaging the dough. When the water turns milky, change it and again add 1 teaspoon of salt and gently knead and press and massage it until around 7 or 8 or 9 times when the water is relatively cleared. At this stage, you can actually feel the dough becoming more and more pliable. This is gluten ready. Gluten is actually a very important ingredient in a vegetarian diet. We can turn gluten into chicken meat, which I'm going to show you in the later part of this video. Gluten can be used to make char siew also. When we tear up the chicken meat, it becomes chicken strips. Also included in this video are the makings of gluten balls, gluten rings, and imitation tofu. Gluten is so versatile in usage, we should try to learn to make it. After watching this video a few times, I'm sure you will acquire the skill. Leave it on a clean surface for 45 minutes. If you want to use the gluten for fish, then you need to press it thinly now. Otherwise, just leave it and cut it into strips. Now I'm making chicken meat by twisting the strip in different directions, one anti-clockwise and the other clockwise. It will come a time when the strip will twist by itself. You see, it's curling together. So I join up the ends and tuck it underneath, and now it resembles a piece of chicken meat. Boil them and remember to stir them so that they won't stick together. The cooking time is roughly 20 to 30 minutes depending on the thickness of the chicken meat. And you can use it to cook chicken curry. Now I'm showing you how to make gluten balls. The size of the ball is a personal preference. Gluten at this stage is very sticky, so always wet the container and your hands. To make it into a ball, just fold it to the center few times and it will become a round ball. Fry them in medium heat and stir them occasionally so that they won't stick together. Use them in one popular dish called Buddha's Delight. Now comes the gluten rings or mian-chang. You need to wet the chopsticks first. According to the video, this is how you wrap the strip around the chopsticks And see how I fold the ending together by tucking the end underneath, and it is secured. Put it in boiling water to cook for 20 to 30 minutes depending on the thickness. Notice how I remove the gluten ring from the chopsticks. Wet the gluten under running tap for a while, and then you just twist the gluten and the chopsticks. Try to pull a little at a time the chopsticks. Gluten rings are often used in stew or sour pork knuckle. Last but not least, imitation tofu known as tofu. I add 3 grams of yeast, 1 teaspoon of sugar. Together with the gluten, I knead and pinch them so that the sugar and the yeast will be incorporated into the gluten. Do this for a minute or so. Add a tablespoon of water to it. Transfer it to a smaller bowl. Cover with wet cloth and rest for 70 or 80 minutes. Put in a heat-resistant bowl or container lined with greased paper and steam it for 20 minutes. After that, do not open the lid immediately. Leave a small gap for 5 minutes first. Use it in stew, sour pork knuckle, or treat it as fish cake. Imitation tofu is up to your creativity to use it.